So I want you to think about when you're stressed, like what do I do when I'm stressed right now? Right. And if it's working for you and it's not causing you any harm, I love that for you. If it's maybe working for you in the moment and it's causing harm after, I really want you to think about interrupting that cycle. And for some people, going cold turkey is very hard. But I want you to think about, instead of, let's just say, like, my go to is wine. I have wine because some people don't look at wine as a big deal because it's like, it's wine. Intentionally, is our breathing labored? So many times we are so used to living on high alert that we don't even recognize what's happening. We don't recognize that our shoulders are up all the time. Another thing you can do on YouTube, they have these like 5-minute body scans where it literally will go through your entire body and says, like, all right, like, take a seat, and it'll say, like, pay attention to where your jaw is, your jaw clenched tight, right? And you'll be surprised that your jaw's clenched tight. Even now, like, as you're listening to this, pay attention. Like, are your hands balled up? Is your shoulders high up? These are like small things. And I don't want to, when I say small, these are little steps we can take, but they're significant, right? I want you to, when I say small steps, every step matters that we're taking to get to where we need to be. Right. And so if you can work on creating some mindfulness practices, even like a shower meditation, taking time in the shower to take a deep breath, smell the soap, feel the water on you, right? Pay attention to what you have going on for the day. What are you smelling? What are you seeing? Use your five senses and get engaged. I love the idea of a shower meditation because that's something that you're doing on a regular basis. So I'm not asking you to create more time, because I know for some people, they don't have a lot of flexibility in their schedule. And I don't want you to look at these things that I'm asking you to do as like one more thing you have to add to your plate. I want to think about ways you can implement it to things that you're already doing, right? So in your toolkit, one, we said self-care practices, right? And then we said our mindfulness, right? Like, what are we doing for relaxation? Like, are we making time to just sit down and breathe? Are we making time as we're sitting down, just maybe have a cup of tea, have hot chocolate, like listen to something that is very like relaxing, right? I can't tell you what it is. And remember, everybody's toolkit's going to look different. There's certain people I like listening to that might bother you. You might not like the way their voice sounds. So as you're thinking about this toolkit, think about like, what's going to work for me, because we're all different. And the things that works for one person may not work for another. The next thing I want you to think about in the toolkit are your coping strategies. Like, what do you use when you're coping? And so this is like journaling. Do I listen to music? Do I get to talk to a friend? Because sometimes some of the coping mechanisms we're using are not healthy. We're engaging in relationships that, like, maybe in the moment it's comforting, but we recognize like the after effect won't be the best for us. Especially in the wintertime, you really got to be mindful on how easy it is to get caught up in some crappy relationships that may be causing you more harm than good. Am I like addiction, like marijuana and alcohol are legal? Well, marijuana in certain states are more legal than other states, but it's not about the marijuana or alcohol, but the way you're utilizing it, right? When I'm having a bad day, am I always going to the liquor store and getting a bottle? Right? Am I always like lighting up, right? And when I light up, it relaxes me, but like I find myself feeling stuck. And for some people, it gives them what they need and then they're good, right? So pay attention to the coping mechanisms that you've been using now. So I want you to think about when you're stressed, like, what do I do when I'm stressed right now? Right? And if it's working for you and it's not causing you any harm, I love that for you. If it's maybe working for you in the moment and it's causing harm after, I really want you to think about interrupting that cycle. And for some people, going cold turkey is very hard. But I want you to think about, instead of, let's just say, like, my go to is wine. I have wine because some people don't look at wine as a big deal because it's like, it's wine. It's not like, they'll say, like, it's not like a hard liquor. But as you're thinking about, like, let's say I'm getting wine every day after work, and I used to do that at one point when I worked in a high pressure place where I'm hearing all these stories. And I go, and this is before I understood how energy impacts me, right? Like I didn't understand like the heaviness that was happening and I was feeling was from all of the things I was listening to. And so like I would have wine, but because I worked in addictions and I'm a type of person, I pay attention to the way things work, right? I grew up in the hood and I seen like, yeah, like some people had nice clothes and nice cars, but I also seen like they were getting locked up or they were dying, they was getting killed. Like there was so many things that I paid attention to and I said it looks pretty and good, but I don't want it to end that way, right? And so the wine was fine.